Welcome to the Everyday GSD podcast. Today's special guest, Keith Dixon. But before we get into Keith Dixon's story, which is going to be amazing, I just want to say we have a sponsor for the Everyday GSD podcast. It is Good Dudes Coffee. Josh Bridges, who was on episode 31, I believe. Make sure you guys go out and go check that out. He's one of the founders and owners of Good Dudes Coffee. If you need a little pep in your step, have some Good Dudes Coffee. That's my tagline for it. But I can tell you this is amazing coffee. Go to the website, gooddudescoffee.com. Subscribe, buy the coffee, support veterans, and enjoy this coffee. It's excellent coffee. And again, Good Dudes Coffee, thank you so much for being our sponsor. We appreciate you. Okay, now let's get to the action.
Yeah,
How was your trip in, brother?
it was great.
5 hours,
great.
6 hours?
5 hours.
Whew.
Yeah, wasn't too bad.
Oh, that drink tastes good, I bet. Okay, I'm going to give a little bio on you, and I'm sure we're going to get deep into this. You're a military veteran. You were in the Army. You were also in the Navy.
Yep.
You're also, after that, you were in for about 9 years, and you got out and you became a government contractor. We're going to talk about several stuff about that. You were injured in an explosion in Kabul.
Yep.
Actually, one of the largest...
Second largest
bombings in Afghanistan, if I remember going through this. Yeah. You're currently still a government contractor, government defense contractor. You're an SME, which for those of you who don't know is a subject matter expert. But most importantly, your other business that you do is premium junk clothing. You're a designer. You create amazing pieces of clothing, T-shirts, hats, hoodies, sweatshirts, pants, all kinds of stuff online at premiumjunkclothing.com. But on top of that, you also make very high-end stuff in the design world.
Yeah.
Some famous people have purchased your stuff and have worn it on red carpets and big events in acting and those kind of places. So let's dig into your story, man.
Yeah, let's go.
So you're originally from Virginia Beach.
Yep.
You woke up one day and you saw all the Navy people there, and you were like, fuck it, man, I want to join the Navy. You probably wanted to be a Navy SEAL.
Everyone wants to be a Navy SEAL. Right?
No, really. So what made you want to join the Navy? Because here's what I want to do, Keith, just because I think you've got a super, super cool story. And obviously, I wanted you on the show. And thank you so much again for driving down here. This was not an easy drive. I know you got up at 4 a.m. to make it here. I appreciate that. But I wanted you on the show because I've watched your business get better and better over time. You surround yourself with good people, and you literally live the everyday GSD mentality, the everyday GSD lifestyle. So I think that our guests that are listening to this show today, this episode, are going to leave. They're going to put their gadget down when the show's over, and then they're just going to go get shit done, and they're going to follow their dreams because that's exactly what you've done day after day. So that's why I wanted you on the show. So let's go back to the Navy.
Yeah, man. So while I was in Philadelphia,
Philly,
graduating school, it was one of those things: either stay in Philadelphia or leave here and try to better yourself. So I decided to join the Navy from Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you have any aspirations in the Navy that you wanted to do something specific, or?
Growing up in a Navy family, I got to see a lot of things. Of course, everything is SEAL glamorized. The media glamorizes being a Navy SEAL.
Oh, Navy SEAL, yeah.
Right? And
well, actually, you ended up going to BUD/S, right?
Yeah.
So when you went into the Navy, and we're going to talk about that because you actually are apparently the only person in America that quit BUD/S. Everyone else just gets hurt and they don't become a Navy SEAL. I've been to so many bars and restaurants where I meet someone and like, oh, you were in the deployable special forces? I was almost a Navy SEAL. I'm like, oh, cool, man. What happened? He's like, oh, I went to BUD/S and then, I got injured, which, let's face it, a lot of people do get injured, but there's a reason why 83% of the people, I think that's an approximate number, but it's over 80% of the people don't make it because they quit. Because it's the fucking hardest training on earth, and it's tough. And let's face it, I'm gonna. Anyone who's listening to this that can't see you, you're an African American, and you're probably not the best swimmer because of where you grew up. You probably didn't have the pool that, you know, Bobby in Iowa did.
Sure.
I'm guessing.
And you're right.
I'm probably pissing people off right now. They're like, I'm black and I can swim. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, well, there's black people that can swim, obviously.
Yeah, fuck
right?
yeah.
But swimming is just not the whole training.
No.
It encompasses a ton of other things, and then you have to swim on top of that, right? So if you're going to reach a failing point, I feel like in the water is where you're going to reach a failing point.
Yeah, for you, that's what happened.
For me.
Yeah.
Right. So,
but you made it. Because the training was a little different. I mean, you know, as every day goes on, we're a little older. You made it through into Hell Week, which is back then it was around week 6. Now I think it's phase 1, week 3.
Yeah.
So you made it into week 6, and finally you're like, I got to ring this bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
it.
it.
What it is. That's
yeah. But what's the you know, it's interesting because I've watched you do such a good job in your career. And it's interesting because I think that, and I'm making an assumption, but I feel like, because you don't quit at anything.
Right. And that's because of my past failures.
Right. And that's the lesson, right?
That's the lesson. Yeah.
We all fail. Is do we get up and do we try it again? Or do we learn from that and go, you know what? I got to pivot.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you end up leaving the Navy.
Yep.
You were in almost 4 years, 3.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
You did, what is it called? Blue to Green?
Yep.
For those of you who don't know what that is, that's a program that if you're in the Navy, you can, for lack of a better word, lateral over to the Army. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Why don't you explain that program to us?
Right. So you explained it perfectly.
Oh, okay.
You're here. You want to go to the Army. Okay. They cut your contract short. You get to jump into the Army now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so you join the Army and you are a topo.
Yep.
And for those people who don't know what that is, let's explain that to them.
You do maps and you plan routes, things like that. So things like Black Hawk Down doesn't happen. You don't get stuck somewhere and you don't know where you're going.
So basically, people that don't understand or don't know, because we have a lot of veterans and military people that listen to the show, but for civilians, when you say routes, it'd be like convoys. And you mentioned Black Hawk Down. I was actually just at the 30-year ceremony for Mogadishu here in Indianapolis, and it was an excellent ceremony. But the breakdown there was no one knew where they were going. I mean, there was a lot of breakdowns, but one of the breakdowns, no one knew where they were going. They didn't have proper routes. Right. So that's why what a topo does. A topo creates these maps, these routes, to make sure that the individuals that are going to do any operational stuff on the ground have the safest route to the best of their ability.
Exactly.
Right.
Not only do they plan routes, or they rectify imagery from satellites, so we can get a clearer picture of what the ground actually looks like, from various heights. Okay.
So you're in the Army because you were in the Navy 3.5 years almost, and then you're in the Army for another 4 years?
6.5.
6.5. Okay. So total.
I'm sorry. Man, my math is off.
It's all right. You're getting older, brother.
Yeah, man. 5.
5 years. Okay. Total 8.5 years about. Okay.
To a stop loss.
And then you decide you want to be a contractor. And you are an Iraq veteran and an Afghan veteran. Yeah. So you've been through, because you went in early 90s?
No, 2000.
I'm sorry, I meant to say early 2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s.
Early 2000s. Yeah. So we're in the height of the war. Mm-hmm. You're going over there, you're deploying a bunch of times, and we don't need to get into all that, because then you become a government contractor, defense contractor. Yep. You find yourself right back in the sandbox.
Yeah, multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah. 8 more deployments to Afghanistan.
8 deployments.
8 more deployments to Afghanistan.
Did you hear that, Justin? I did. Yeah. Okay. Just making sure you're listening over there.
Yeah.
What was your hardest deployment?
My last one to Kabul.
Is that when the explosions?
Yeah. They were.
And we don't have to get into too much detail, because I'm sure you don't want to go down memory lane with that. But give me a little detail.
Oh man, do you want to know what happened that day, or?
Yeah, sure.
What do you want to know? Okay.
If you want to share it.
Man, it looks like this.
It's your show, bro.
You wake up, we have a meeting. We do a convoy into the Kabul Air Force Base. All right. And while we're there, we get a little radio chatter saying, hey, don't come back to base yet. Don't come back to the compound yet. We got to VBID explosion at the front gate. So we're like, okay, we'll hang out for a little while. So we come back and we see the car exploded in front of the compound, and we're like, okay, all right, nothing out of the norm.
Yeah.
So we go inside, and we go take our gear off, and go to our room, and I'm just sitting there in my room, and all of a sudden I hear this loud, sounds like someone's closing a steel cage very hard, like the hardest you could possibly close a steel cage, and down the street, in the roundabout to the airport, there's another explosion. So we got guys that come back, they're bleeding from their ears, eyes bloodshot. And I'm like, what happened to you guys? And he's like, we just got hit. And I was like, man, all right.
And this is right down the street from you.
This is right down the street.
Yeah.
Right. So then around 4:00 in the evening, we have another meeting. We're all in one meeting room. And we're just standing there and we're waiting and we're waiting. And then there's a flicker of the lights. And all the AC units come flying off the wall in this loud explosion. Doors wedged closed. You had to pull the door to get out. We come outside. There's glass everywhere. I can just remember like the secondary fire. And we were just like, okay, it's game time. Needless to say, that was a long night.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a very long night. We laughed about it the next day, but it left me injured.
Yeah.
So they had to send me home.
And was that your last deployment there?
That was my last deployment too.
Yeah. And you decide, and actually, I do want to talk about this, and I don't know how much you can talk about, because before we got on the air, you were telling me some funny stories, and because you're kind of working on a movie.
Yeah.
And I say kind of, you got the script written,
yeah.
and believe me, this isn't on this for the record.
Okay.
I'm just throwing this in there because I really like this.
Sure.
And it's going to be loosely based on the truth.
Yes. Yes.
Just to make sure no one's in trouble. But you were well, actually, I don't know how much you really want to say. Maybe they have to wait for the movie to come out.
Well, I was thinking
because the story is
right?
fucking great.
Yeah, and it's hilarious. Right?
It's hilarious.
So I can give you a gist. I mean, we all see war movies and military movies or deployment movies where it's only bad things, or there's a hero, or political things, right?
Right.
No one ever shows the backside of what's going on, like on a FOB or
and a FOB is a forward operating base,
right, or a COB, right?
Yeah.
So there's things that take place there that people will probably have no idea of what's going on unless you serve.
Yeah.
Right. So things get really interesting sometimes.
Yeah.
On those COBs and FOBs. So yeah.
And for the record, you were not in the military when you were doing these interesting things. Or you might have been doing these things. You were a defense contractor at the time.
Negative.
Negative. Okay.
I was in uniform.
Okay. You were in uniform.
I was in uniform, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hypothetically.
Yeah, hypothetically in uniform. But yeah, it's a really great story.
Yeah.
Like, it's a really great story.
I know the movie's not out yet, and you're working on it. I know the screen print or the screenwrite is done on it. Is there a name to it yet?
Kingpins of Bagram.
Say that again.
Kingpins of Bagram.
Okay, so keep your eyes out for this movie to come out whenever it does. Trust me, I've heard the story. It's
man.
It's good.
Oh man.
Okay, so I want to talk about. So you end up starting a clothing company.
Yep.
Premium Junk Clothing, which actually I normally wear an everyday GSD shirt on my podcast. Actually, I think this is the first time I haven't. This is one of your shirts that you were so kind to get me a little while ago. You cannot buy this. No. However, I wear a lot of your clothing, and I get a lot of compliments and questions. And hopefully, after this show, your sales get to go up a little, and someone watching this likes your stuff. I know several people out there that wear your stuff that I've turned them on to it, because one, you're a good dude, and two, like I love your shit, and I
Thanks,
don't want to,
brother.
and I don't mean to call it shit but I use that word loosely. It's
Right.
really good stuff.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that, because one of the things that's pretty cool about your clothing company is, especially when you design everything, you create everything, and then you also, when you start talking about like high end clothing, dresses and gowns and sports coats, tuxedo outfits,
Yeah.
you actually go overseas and pick out the material.
I source all the fabric.
You source all the fabric.
I'll go to Kuwait, I'll go to Dubai, and I will source fabric.
Walk me through a time when you're in like Dubai, like doing this. Like how's this work?
You know, there in Dubai, there's a lot of souks,
Yeah.
fabric markets. So I just, roll around those markets and
Yeah.
look for different fabrics.
I mean, you
that
make it
stand out
sound
to me.
easy, so everyone can just go do this. No, so I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Like, so
Okay.
you go there and you're like, okay, you know where to go, you know what you're looking for. You have this eye for this. You're very artistic with your clothes.
Right. So a lot of it goes into the quality of the fabric, the design on the fabric. What can I possibly do with it? I let the fabric essentially speak to me. That fabric tells me what to make. If I feel like I can make a blazer with it, I'll make a blazer. If it's a dress, etc. If I can't use it, then yeah,
Then you don't use it.
it just I let it speak to me.
Right. And what's your favorite thing you make? Because like right now, you're wearing a hat, you're wearing a hoodie, I'm wearing this shirt, and it's all cool shit.
Yeah, I like making the high end clothes, the suits, the dresses. Yeah, essentially, I mean that's what I would love to narrow my scope down to.
Right.
Is like high end fashion.
And there's
trench
a
coats.
there's a huge market for it.
There is a huge market.
Right.
I'm just trying to tap into it.
Yeah. And so what's the goal for you to stop the government defense contracting and do this full time? Or do you have that taste in your mouth? You always kind of want to do that.
I love government contracting.
Yeah.
I love interacting with soldiers. I just like being there. It's like home away from home.
Right.
But yes, eventually I would just like to have premium junk clothing full time.
Right.
And that's all I do.
So what's the next thing with premium junk clothing? Let's talk about some of your stuff that you've got coming out. Or
I've got an arsenal. I've got an arsenal of good stuff. I'm just waiting for the proper time to release it. I recently got a PR guy, and we're just making a strategy of how we're going to do this and make it stick.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, why don't we talk about some of the obstacles you've had? I know there's a Macy's story. Or am I allowed to say Macy's?
I'll say Macy's.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So you didn't fit their mold.
I didn't fit Macy's mold. No.
Because you're why don't you tell the story? So hold on, let's back it up. So you go in and you've got an interview, or how's this working? Like basically you're trying to put your product in a bigger store.
Right.
Okay.
So I meet with a woman. I won't disclose her name. We're talking, and she's like, "So tell me your story." And I'm like, "What story?" And she's like, "Do you have a story behind your brand?" And I'm like, "No, I just kind of do it."
I mean, you do have a story behind it, but not to share to her, right? Ish.
Right, exactly. Because who is
Yeah.
this lady, first of all?
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's like, "Okay, what's the story?" And I get it. Every brand has a story behind their brand. So I'm like, at the time, I'm like, I don't know the story, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I made these clothes. She was like, these are incredible. Did you do this? Yes, I did this. She was like, wow, incredible. So she was like, what do you do? And I was like, well, I was in the Army.
I'm a government contractor.
Yeah, right. And I'm
black.
Right. I'm black and I'm making clothes. Right?
Yeah.
So she was like, you already have 3 strikes against you. And I was like, man, what does she mean by 3 strikes against me, right? So
For like a designer story, right?
for a designer story, right? Now we know historically most designers have been not heterosexual. Okay.
Right.
So she told me that. She was like,
You're not gay.
You're not gay. You're African American. And this is something that military personnel don't do. So she kind of put me in a box. She was like, if you're a military guy, you do military things. What are military things?
Right.
So she just kind of like
She shut you down.
Yeah, she just got rid of it.
So just to recap that, so you're having a meeting with her, and she's a person that makes decisions at Macy's. We won't say her name.
Right.
And she says to you, "I love your stuff. It's amazing. What's your story?" And you're like, I don't really have a story. I mean, I am what I am, And she's like, "Well, you're black, you're not gay, and you're a veteran. We can't sell your shit."
Right. I'm like,
basically.
right.
What do you think of that, Justin?
Don't get me started.
Don't get me started. Let's get him started.
Yeah. So, that was a shot to continue. Right?
Yeah.
It kind of was very discouraging.
Right.
When I see guys like Nine Line and Front Styles, right?
Because you
very well.
Because you know the guys from Nine Line, right?
Vaguely.
Yeah, because our a mutual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I watched those brands, and they've done something. They've done something really well.
But they also sell to, and I like the Nine Line brand, and is it Grunt
Styles?
Grunt Style.
Yeah.
That's a totally different thing than you're doing.
Is it?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. Like, for example, and this is not discrediting either of those companies, but they're very American flag, very gun, very. I know you've an RPG on your hat right now, and I wear the same shit, but it's different. I feel like yours is more designed, not not t-shirted.
Sure.
Like this is a t-shirt, but I don't know if the camera can see this. There's a lot of stuff in this t-shirt.
Right.
It's just not like, don't take my guns.
Right. There's a lot of meaning in that t-shirt.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I feel like your stuff is different than theirs. That's what separates your company from them. Mm-hmm. And I feel like theirs is being mass produced, and I to some degree.
Sure. They've scaled their business very well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a different approach to apparel and branding. So it might take a little longer.
And you do a lot of I see, like, when you're in Chicago or you're in LA, obviously I've seen videos online from over in Dubai and stuff where you have, like, models and actors wearing your stuff.
Yeah.
And they're promoting it. They're and it looks good on them, and they're wearing it for a reason. They're not wearing it. They're not wearing it because you asked them to wear it. They're wearing it because they want to wear it.
Sure.
I think that's the difference.
Exactly. And they never charge me a dime.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you want somebody to wear something,
you
got to pay them to wear it. I've had the luxury of not having to pay producers, actors, athletes. They just love it and they wear it.
So let's talk about roadblocks that you've had, because obviously the show's about everyday GSD. So we go back in time. We leave Hell Week. We ring the bell, and then we go in the Army. We get out of the Army. We're a government contractor. Somewhere in there, you have an idea of a movie. Going back to that, I think that's going to blow people's mind when that comes out. Right. But anyway, but somewhere in there, you decide you want to start making clothing. So what were the biggest hurdles and obstacles? So anyone who's listening to this, because obviously, you're in phenomenal physical shape. You work out all the time, and that's important with your job, that you're strong and fast and all that shit for obvious reasons. But what were the biggest obstacles that you've had in your business side of it, just so people can listen and go, "Oh shit, no, I'm facing those problems too."
Sure. Okay. Scaling a business, or just starting a business in itself, because it's not the easiest thing to want to do, right, or accomplish.
Right.
There's a lot of things that go into it. So starting a business, one, scaling the business, two.
So let's go to starting. So what's the hardest part when you didn't say starting it? Is it to actually make the decision, or are you talking about
to actually make the decision, to not have the people that you thought were your friends support you, or family?
Disappointing.
Super disappointing, right? So that's the first discourager. Right?
Yeah.
But, you keep pushing through.
Yeah.
Then you have to find manufacturers. No one wants to give you manufacturer information. You have to source all these things by yourself.
And when you talk about manufacturers, because some manufacturers will have minimums that they want to make 500 units or 1,000 units or 10,000 units. And you're like, I'm just trying to make 10 good pieces right now. And I'm making that number up. But
right. So normally they want at least 100 of each piece if you make something, right? So starting out, you really don't have the capital to do it, right? Or you do have the capital to do it, but you're pulling away from, it's startup money, right? So you're pulling away from things that, you might not go out to eat next weekend because you want to get this hoodie done, or things like that.
Well, that's the GSD mentality, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you fund it all yourself. Dealing with manufacturers is a hurdle because they don't always understand what you want to get done.
Yeah. What's in your mind or what you give them isn't necessarily what they deliver.
Exactly. Right. So that's another thing. But other than that, building it, you have that recognition as a brand.
And you have no business partners, right?
None.
None.
I do it all by myself.
Right.
And yeah, and that part, right? Like I want to just be able to create, but I have to create, do the business side. I have to shoot my videos. I have to take my photos.
But that's the grind, right?
That's
what we do. We have to grind. We have to grind to get over that little hump that's really like Mount Everest, right?
Yeah. And you know what? The hump is the most enjoyable part.
Yeah.
That struggle, like that trying to do it or accomplishing it is the gym. That's the best part of owning a brand for me.
Yeah.
Is doing it.
What do you think that you learned from the military? Your good things and or bad, your failures or your successes that have helped you today in your business? Because
good question.
Because you had mentioned earlier, and I don't want to keep going back to it because it's probably fucking annoying to you, but you ended up not completing buds.
Right. So I don't want to fail again. Right.
Right.
It's like a second chance at doing something for myself.
Yeah.
Right. And I treat everything like that essentially.
Right.
I'm not going to fail anymore.
Right.
Because I failed once, and that's like probably one of the biggest fails I'll ever have to live with.
Yeah. But because of that, you're successful now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Right. Just that mentality, that keep pushing mentality. Right. Like I don't care what happens, I'm still going to get the shit done.
Yeah. Because everything happens for a reason. Because at the end of the day, you ended up leaving the Navy and going to the Army, and then going from the Army to a defense contractor. If you would have successfully finished buds, who knows where their premium junk might not even be here today. You might not even be here today.
And you know what, Darin? That's something that I would trade for. I would trade for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely trade for that.
That's pretty deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would trade for it in a second.
But the good news is we don't need to trade because here's where we are and this is what we're doing, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
We're in the present.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
So tell me more about Premium Junk and your aspirations. I know you said a household name, but
I just want to be my own entity and I just want to be successful at it. That's the only thing I can possibly want. Premium Junk has been a tool for me. Essentially, dealing with PTSD and things like that. As long as I can stay creative, my mind's going. Right. But once I stop, it's just like that PTSD likes to creep in a little bit.
Yeah, getting a little rut.
Yeah, right. You get a little funky. So I'm grateful to have Premium Junk because I can create whenever, however, and it just keeps going.
I like it.
Yeah.
So when you talk about people not supporting you, friends, family, isn't it interesting when you have your own business, everyone tells you they're there for you, and then all of a sudden, when the rubber hits the road, it's like crickets.
Man, you hear it all, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, that's awesome, right?
Yeah.
But that's all you ever hear.
Yeah.
Right? There's no push for it.
Yeah.
There's no share it.
Yeah.
There's nothing, right? And so from this, I've learned that the people that don't know you.
That's cool doesn't pay the bills.
Right. It doesn't pay the bills. Right. Cool. Got it. It's cool. Right?
Yeah.
But the people that you don't know support you the most.
Yeah.
It is weird. It's super weird because every friend that I have, I support. If they start a business, I support them.
Yeah.
You need to know where to go. You need a manufacturer. Like, what do you need?
Yeah.
I give it.
Do you do discount codes?
I do discount codes.
We should do a discount code, everyday GSD 5 or everyday GSD 10,
Yeah.
and get everyone to
Let's do it.
push the shit out of the product.
Let's do it.
So
I mean, it sounds like we have another sponsor.
we'll talk about that after. Let's do that if you're cool with it, and we can talk about it after.
Yeah.
Everyday GSD 10. If you listen to this podcast and you want some premium junk clothing, or if you want any kind of cool stuff that he's got online, go to premiumjunkclothing.com. Type in Everyday GSD 10. By the time this comes out, that'll already be on.
Sure.
That'll be on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll track it, and then we'll maybe have you back out on the show, and we'll see
Let's do it.
how do we do. But I'd also like to do and we can talk about this off the air, is do an Everyday GSD shirt with you. Do a co-branded shirt or a collaboration with a shirt.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm down for it, man.
Yeah, we got all kinds of opportunities.
Yeah, let's go.
Maybe we always talk about charities, but everyone says, "Oh, I donate to charity," but you made a good comment to me before about charity. The best way to give to charity is go out and give to the charity physically.
Yeah, man.
Physically, not necessarily. I mean, all charities need money, but they really need help.
Exactly.
I'm heavily involved with the VFW. I'm the new commander at Post 10,003, and I say new. It's now been a handful of months, but it's interesting because we have the best volunteer base. People that were not in the military, that they have family members that were, so they're auxiliary members. And I can tell you, without these auxiliary members and these volunteers that come in, our post wouldn't be the post it is. And I can tell you, we've got a badass post. After this episode, I'll bring you there. We've got live music and shit. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, the people that put in the actual physical hard work, it's mind blowing. I've been to VFWs all over the country, and I've never seen one like this before. That's a pretty correct statement, Justin?
I mean, yeah, and it's being changed every day. I mean, we're trying to make it the best.
Yeah.
We go to them all over the country, and I think ours is probably the most forward-thinking, interesting.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. We welcome everyone. Obviously we're not open to the public except certain days. But when I say we we're welcome everyone, all races, all beliefs, all the good stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And people come in and have a good time.
Yeah, because we talked, and we talked about how some of the VFWs, they get kind of stale. There's no action going on.
And I think there's a misconception too. People think it's just an old dude in there smoking a cigar, telling war stories. And I can tell you, that's not the case on a lot of VFWs. But hey, this show's not about VFWs. It's about premium junk. It's about you, Keith Dixon. Okay, so how long do you think you're going to be working as a government contractor, defense contractor, until you can make this shit full time?
I'm projecting another 5 years.
5 years.
5 years.
Because it's hard to walk away from that money.
The government money?
Yeah.
The contracting money?
Yeah.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. I enjoy it. Like I said, I enjoy what I do. I enjoy working with soldiers. I feel like I can have an impact in that area.
Yeah.
So why not have an impact there?
And again, you were in the Army and the Navy. How many tours had you done to Afghanistan, Iraq before?
I did one to Iraq and then one to Afghanistan.
And then you became a contractor and did eight more.
Yeah.
So you've done 10 tours.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You haven't seen shit. Look at that grin.
Oh, man.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Yeah. You pay the price for that.
Yeah.
You pay the price for that largely.
Yeah.
But I'm in a better space now. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's. What do we got next? What's going on with you? What are we doing?
What do you mean?
What's the plan? You said 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
And God willing, it'll be scaled to where I need it to be to run it full time.
So are you looking for a partner or no?
I need a team.
You need a team.
Right. I need a team because there's only so much I can do.
Right.
Right. So projected another 5 years, I'll be able to quit my job and work this full time. But I can't do that without certain people in place.
Right.
So that's the goal right now, to find those people and to get them rolling.
Yeah. So how do you think you're going to accomplish that?
I have a few people.
Right.
I have a few people that they've done a business plan for me, the whole thing.
Right.
And they know the ins and outs of apparel, marketing, all that good stuff. I'm hoping to recruit them.
Right.
So we can make this thing a lot stronger.
Now, do you think a company your size, is this something that you'd go on Shark Tank?
I don't think I need to go on Shark Tank.
Okay.
I don't think I need to go on Shark Tank.
You don't want a shark.
I don't need a shark. I'm the shark,
I like it.
right?
I'm the shark.
I'm the shark. I'll do it. I'll get it done.
So you're gonna get a team.
Mm-hmm. Get a team and scale this thing to where I watched, what is that brand? Gymshark and Under Armour. We watched that from nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe 20 years ago, maybe? And now they're just like the biggest athletic apparel brand. So,
But do you think it's something like Under Armour? And I don't know, Justin, you can probably jump in with your time out in LA. Like Under Armour, do you think it's because it became like they sold to some schools or some professional teams, they picked it up, or it was a specific athlete that started wearing it? Like what catapulted them, or was it some investor that came in with, $80 million and said, let's open up a factory and mass produce this stuff in Taiwan?
sure, it could be various things.
Yeah.
It could be the investor. It can be the taking out a loan. It could be the athlete.
Yeah.
We saw it with Nike.
But you're not looking for investors.
No, I'm not looking for investors.
You're not looking for partners.
I mean, it would have to be the right partner.
Right.
It would have to be the right partner. I'm not totally going to kick the idea of having a partner out, but it would have to be the right partner that has a vision.
Nice.
And a veteran.
You want a veteran?
Yeah, that weeds out a lot of people.
Yeah. Now, I know you're a veteran-owned company because you're a veteran just like my business is, but are you a registered veteran-owned company? Where with
not registered veteran-owned. No.
Yeah.
No.
That's a process.
I haven't veteran-owned premium junk, no.
Yeah. Because that's a whole process. It's interesting because I was talking to some guys that are veterans that own businesses that went through that process. That's almost as hard as going through your disability claims and your medical claims and all that with the VA.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Pretty rough, man.
That's pretty rough. Pretty rough. And it's interesting, obviously, when there's complications when you're trying to deal with the government or like loopholes and red tape, most people just give up, right? They're just like, screw it. I don't need to do it.
Yeah. So like APHIS, a lot of red tape.
Yeah.
And a lot of red tape. So that's a hurdle.
Yeah.
That I've been trying to get through is APHIS, because I know in APHIS, this will fly off the shelves to military personnel. What you have,
and what's that for the public?
What do you mean?
APHIS.
APHIS is essentially the mall for military personnel,
right?
Like PX, BX, APHIS and companies.
Where is that?
Well, each military base has a PX. Well, large bases do.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's an actual online stores too.
Yep.
For example, like the Navy has the Navy store, but then it's like a PX, and then you can go, alcohol's less expensive. Everything's less expensive there. Tax-free. For example, like in Indiana, back when you couldn't buy alcohol on Sunday,
yep.
If you were military personnel or a service-connected disabled veteran, or retired, you could go to the PX, buy alcohol because it's a government facility,
right?
And then you could, go home. But
yep.
Yeah.
Can you do that as an auxiliary member of the VFW?
No, absolutely not. No, not at all.
I'm gonna get a benefit one of these days.
Your benefit is you get to hang out with me.
That's a good benefit.
That's a good benefit. Okay, let me see. Do we? Is there anything else we want to touch on here? I mean, you drove 6 hours to come down here. Like, share some insight in business. Like, someone listening to this is like, you know what? I want to start a T-shirt company, or I want to start a design company. I want to start an apparel company. Because you do a lot of things, man, and you're cutting yourself short. Besides the clothing you make, you've worked on projects in the movie world. You've worked with some individuals. You've donated money. You've donated your time. You've donated resources. And I don't want to necessarily say philanthropy, but it is to some degree. You try to, you help. You're a good person. You help a lot of people. Again, going back to that everyday GSD mentality. You get up in the morning. You work out. You go to the gym. You crush your day. Nighttime comes. You work on premium junk. Weekend comes. You work on premium junk. You're shipping the product. You're outsourcing the product.
Yeah,
yeah.
When it comes to me, Darin, it's kind of hard for me to talk about myself. Right, I'm not good at highlighting the things that I've done.
You're not doing bad on the show.
Exactly. Well, I think I'm doing horrible on the show right now. But I don't highlight the things that I do because the mission's not complete.
Well, okay, the mission's not complete, but so here's a sit rep right now. You're going to tell us, so where are we at in the mission?
We are above average in the mission.
Okay.
Okay, we're passing evolutions, but there's more
Yeah.
to get through.
Long way to go.
It's a ways to go.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't pat myself on the back when something is accomplished or something that someone else thinks is great. I just see it as another task and I just drive on.
Now, would you give that advice to someone else?
Everyone's different.
Right. Or you think you're a little hard on yourself?
I think I come from the era in the military to where no one tells you good job. You do your job. And that's what I do. I do my job. I'm not looking for a good job. And half the things you do, you forget about that you did because you're so focused on going forward. Is that it didn't make a difference.
Yeah.
To me, it's just another check mark.
True.
Did it. Next, did it. Did
Yeah.
it. And you forget about what you've done.
Yeah, you're not looking for someone to go,
I'm
hey,
not looking for, yeah.
good job, Keith.
No, I don't need that. Don't tell me good job. You're going to piss me off.
Fair enough. What do you think, Justin?
I wouldn't piss him off.
For those of you listening, his biceps are the size of my legs. And for those of you who are watching, he's got a black hoodie on, and you can't see the size of him underneath there. Trust me. He's a fucking monster. A good monster, though.
Yeah.
How much are you benching these days?
Oh, man, I don't know, man. I don't go for how much I can lift. I just try to keep it together.
How often do you work out? Because obviously working out physically is good for you, but it does a lot for your mentality.
Sure.
I work out all the time because I need to. I have to. If I don't, my head's not straight. But let's talk about a little fitness with you.
Oh, yeah. So I work out lunchtime and then in the evening.
Yeah. So you do two a days.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's on a hard workout day? What you doing?
Legs. Anything legs. I just deadlift, squats. Mobility. I do a lot of mobility training. I skip. I do a split Monday legs. Wednesday is going to be mobility drills, and then Friday is going to be legs again. And in between there is upper. So whatever, pull-ups, dips.
Yeah.
I try to do a lot of calisthenics.
How many pull-ups can you do?
Oh, man, I could probably give you like 20, 25 straight right now.
Just straight pull-ups.
Straight pull-up.
No kipping.
No kipping.
That's good.
Yeah. I wish I had a pull-up bar in here.
That'd be awesome. We got one in the gym.
Oh yeah, let's go do it.
Yeah, we'll make some videos out there. We'll make some reels of you fucking crushing shit out there.
Let's go do it. Yeah.
I see me talking.
You know Josh?
Josh Bridges, actually the owner of the sponsor of this coffee.
Yeah.
Again, I'll mention again, Good Dudes Coffee. Go to gooddudescoffee.com.
Nice.
Get your coffee. He was a former Navy SEAL, 8 years, multiple tours, and he became a CrossFit, machine. He was, I think,
nice.
six-time game athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Dude's a fucking
That's
beast.
awesome. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, episode 31. You got to listen to that one. He was, we did his episode out in Colorado at his house, and he was just he's actually like good dude.
Yeah, right.
Good Dude's
right.
Coffee.
Good
He's
dude's
a good dude.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. Oh, because he asked if you knew Josh. Crushing the gym. It's part of the day, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Because what happens to you if you don't go to the gym?
It can be a dark day.
Yeah.
Like I need that. I have to do that.
Yeah.
For my mental health.
For your mental health.
It's largely for mental health.
Right.
And I like to look good in clothes, right?
Yeah.
If you say you're a fashion designer, you look like a bag of ass. Well, how much of a designer are you?
A bag of ass.
Yeah.
What's the next thing you have coming out for the clothing line? Can you share that?
Ski suits.
Ooh.
Yeah. You got a preview.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Crazy ski suit. And just more high-end items.
Coats. Are you familiar? We're going to talk about trench coats. Let's talk about the ski coats and ski outfits. Are you familiar with Tipsy Elves?
I'm not.
Okay. We'll talk about that after. That's a company that makes a bunch of I think they were on Shark Tank actually.
Oh, really?
But, they make a bunch of wild stuff. I'll show you some of their stuff so you can make it better.
Okay.
Because there's they've got flaws.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about bad about Tipsy Elf. I think it's called Tipsy Elf. God, I hope I'm right. I just talked shit about them. There's some company that sells chocolate in North Dakota called Tipsy Elves, and they're like, "Why did you just slam our company?"
Like we sell chocolate.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you coming down to the show.
Yeah, brother.
6 hour. Was it a 6 hour drive?
Close to 6.
What's your message before we wrap this up to the public about? You can give me 2 messages, maybe one about the military and contracting, or go into what do you want to share about business.
Do it.
Words of advice.
Just do it. No matter what anyone says or what people may think, just do it. Put it out and keep going. Move forward.
Move forward.
Just do it.
Just
Move
do
forward,
it,
man.
Tie your shoes and run, right, Justin?
That's it.
Right.
Run.
Tie your shoes and run. Well, hey, listen, Keith, I've got a little gift for you because you are an everyday GSD person. But no, seriously, man, you've got a lot of good information. You're a good human. I think your resume, well, one speaks for itself, but I think you keep so much of this so close to you that I think when people start to do a little homework and realize the passion that you have with your clothing line, they're going to understand when they put it on, when they wear it. Like I wear this, and I'm excited to wear your stuff because first of all, I'm proud to know you and have you on the show, but most importantly, I know that your vision, your passion for your clothes is from your heart, and then you put that in your hands and you design it. So I got a little everyday GSD t-shirt here for you.
Thanks, brother.
And I figured it would go with a little green for you instead of navy blue. No, just kidding. But hey, thanks for being on the show. Yes, sir.
I have something for you as well.
Oh, I like gifts.
You and your wife.
Ooh, and Jonica.
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
So this,
and it's a zip up.
It's a zip up, right? But this was inspired by the gas mask, the Draeger system, right? The Draeger system, of course, you might know what a Draeger is. It's a rebreather. Yeah. Right? So this is what you have here.
Let me see. I'm going to open it up.
So that's what you have there is a rebreather. I call it gas mask for civilians that don't know what a rebreather is. And it's kind of hard to explain what a rebreather is to people that don't know.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah. It's a distorted image. It comes from my distortion collection.
The distortion collection.
It's a distorted image of a soldier in a rebreather.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And I love that it's a zipper.
Oh, yeah, man.
You know, I like the zipper.
You like zippers.
You know, I like the zipper. Well, hey, and are these online?
Yes.
These are online.
So
if you like this, and if you don't like it, then I don't know why you're watching the fucking show. But if you like this or any of his stuff, Keith Dixon, it's premierjunkclothing.com.
Premium junk clothing.
What did I say?
Premier.
Oh.
That's a good name change, though.
No. No. Because I have a product. I have a product called that. Not in clothing, in the stainless steel world. They'll get it right on the screen. Just like that.
That's
just
funny.
about is the drink that strong? It's not Premier.
Oh, man.
Premiumjunkclothing.com. Check it out. Also, I think it's important that people go and check out your Instagram and all your social media stuff because I think you got a lot of cool videos, and I think people will be inspired when they see all your stuff. So I want to thank you for several things. Thanks for just being a good human. Thanks for coming down here. Thanks for getting this stuff out there on the market. Sure. And I think we're going to see big things from you in the future, brother.
Thank you, brother.
All
Thank
right.
you for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for watching the Everyday GSD podcast. Episodes come out on the 1st and 15th of the month. If you want to watch people or listen to people that Everyday GSD, please download and subscribe wherever you listen or watch the Everyday GSD podcast. Everyday GSD.